Welcome back to another video. My name is Henrik and today we're going to be looking at the facelift of the Kia EV6. The EV6 pre-facelift was actually the first car we ever had on our channel, so I'm very happy to test this one. I already quite like the previous generation of this. We're going to look at what happened on this car, what the range says, what all the new features are in here, and if it's a better variant than the previous variant. Let's get right into the video and start off with the price. So the starting price of the Kia EV6 is now 44,990 euros, which is actually 2,000 euros cheaper than the previous variant, even though they increased the standard equipment on here, increased the battery size by around 7 kilowatts an hour, which is quite a lot, and also in general just made the optics look a lot different as well. You can definitely tell that, for instance, in the front here you get a new design with this light going now all the way down, which is kind of the new Kia EV for the Kia models, the design language. And we also get this light bar which goes all the way through. You can see here there's also going to be some light elements here, which then increases the kind of width of it, basically going all the way through. On the bottom we also get some fake air curtains here, which actually look quite decent, but they don't do anything, and a little bit bigger diffuser on the bottom here with some active aerodynamics here. This is how the car looks in the GT line. You can pick up the Air variant, the Earth variant, or obviously the GT line. And each one of them is going to have different options when it comes to the engine variants and also the battery size. The test vehicle we have here is in the GT line with the biggest battery, which is the 84 kilowatts an hour battery, which is the only option you can pick up for the GT line, but you can choose between a rear-wheel drive variant or also an all-wheel drive variant. Rear-wheel drive is going to get 229 horsepower, our variant here 325 horsepower with 605 newton meters, 0 to 100 in 5.3 seconds, and also a top speed of 188 kilometers. And the way it's standing here, it's going to cost you around 67,000 euros and 67,490 euros if I'm not mistaken, with also the special color we have on here, which is the Wolf Gray color, which is one of the extras you can pick up for 800 or 980 euros. What do you think of the design in front? Let me know. And actually, before you let me know that, let's take a look at the Frunk. This looks quite nice here. You have a little bit of storage space. It is going to be quite tough to put your charging cables in there, but last time I said that with the previous EV6, people did tell me in the comments they were actually able to fit their charging cable in there. So you get a little bit of a Frunk, not too much storage space, but that's about it for the front. And in the back, upper part here really didn't change much in the design. You can see still that big light bar, typical for the EV6, going all the way through here. On the bottom we get a little bit of a different design, looking quite sporty and nice in my opinion, with the diffuser here on the bottom, and also we have our lights there on the bottom as well as on the side. EV6 and also GT line on the side with a rear dimmed window or blacked out window and a little bit of a roof spoiler there. We can also open the trunk, obviously, which is electrical, which you get in the GT line and also the Earth, if I'm not mistaken, or just the GT line. In here we don't have the most amount of space, but still plenty enough, to 490 up to 1,290. We do have an 60-40 split here on the rear, so you can't flip over the seats in the center, just the center, but you do have a tunnel in there, so you can actually put some skis through there if you want to go on a ski holiday. Quite a lot of space here on the left side to put something. And underneath we also have a little bit of storage space where you can put some more stuff. For instance, there's going to be our tire mobility kit is going to be in here, but that's about it. And you also obviously have the roof here, so you can have some privacy in there. You can also flip over the seats from the rear with the lever on the side, and that's about it. You can also tow now up to 1.8 tons. That's an increase compared to the previous EV6, and still, quite a good amount of load capacity on there, with also 100 kilograms on that towing hook, and as well as on the roof, you can put another 100 kilograms. And the roof capacity is not 100 kilograms, it's 80 kilograms. I got that confused with another number. Let's talk about some competitors. You can, for instance, pick up a Skoda Enyaq with starting price of 44,400 euros, or the coupe variant with 46,000 euros. There you can choose between 59 kilowatts an hour and up to 77 kilowatts an hour. A Tesla Model Y for around 46,000 euros with between 64.8 up to 85 kilowatts an hour. Volkswagen ID.5 obviously has the same capacity as the Skoda Enyaq, same platform. Audi Q4 e-tron, the Genesis GV60 and the Cooper Tavascan. Almost all of those cars that I just mentioned we have done a review to, so you can check that out on the top right corner if you're interested in that. And one thing I do need my phone again for is going to be the dimensions. The car is going to be 4 meters and 69 centimeters long. It's going to be 1 meter and 88 wide without the side mirrors extended, 1 meter and 55 tall, and also a wheelbase of 2 meters and 90. What do you think of the design on the side? in my opinion, again, quite nice looking. We get that nice silhouette here on the back with the lights acting as kind of a spoiler by the way it looks. We get our door handles, which do flush in if you, for instance, close the car with our keyless entry. You can see it just flush nice in there. Our side mirrors are going to be automatically foldable. And we also get, again, a nice silhouette here on total with also the nice black element here on the bottom, which, like I've said in the previous model, you have this element which goes up and then kind of there's no connection here, but it connects back up to the lights, which is a seamless connection, in my opinion, always looks very nice. And then your lines on the top, just a very nice silhouette, in my opinion, from the car. Let's also take a look at the rims we have on here. In the Air variant, you get 19-inch rims. In the and then you can get the Earth variant in the 19-inch rims. GT line, you can choose between 19 and 20-inch rims. We have the optional 20-inch rims on here, which again do look quite nice in my opinion. Just a little bit of a different design compared to the standard 19-inch rims we get on the GT line. And let's quickly take a look at what we actually got when we were doing our charging test. We were charging from around 18% up to 80%. The car is supposed to be able to charge at 258 kilowatts now, which is obviously an increase to the previous model, and the smaller battery at 225 kilowatts. The bigger battery, obviously that 84 kilowatts an hour that we now have in here. That is supposed to charge from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes, and that took us a total of 17 minutes, so actually exactly what you probably also get if you're looking at 10 to 80%. We got a match charging speed of only 198.9. I did see it actually once going up to 201, but it doesn't show on here. But we had an amazing charging curve with an average speed of 180, which is quite high. And that took us, like I said, a total of 17 minutes. Straight up and then just constantly staying at that speed, which is quite nice. And if we probably would have gone down to 10%, we might have seen that peak up to 258. We also didn't precondition the car, so this was basically just a little bit of Autobahn driving for around 10-20 minutes and then going onto the charging station, so no preconditioning, and still 17 minutes is a very good value in my opinion. And join me in the back of the Kia EV6. Legroom is definitely plenty here. You can see my knee room is basically, there's a whole nother seat could fit in there. I'm 1.80 m tall, 5'11". Seat in front of me is adjusted to my seat position. Foot quality, foot height, if you put the rear seat up or the front seat up a little bit more, you could have a little bit more space. I don't have too much space, but I don't even need to stretch out my legs too much because the bench has a nice inclination, so I'm actually supported quite nicely on my upper thighs. If I sit like this, then I'm not going to have too much support, but the seat are very inclined, so I'm actually having a quite nice comfortable position in here. And you can also change the inclination of the back seats, just like in Hyundai and Kia Genesis models. You can always change the height here on the back, which is always quite comfortable, so I can actually have quite a nice seating position in here if I want to sit like this. Center seat is also quite big. We do also have a center console and that tunnel that I already mentioned with 2 cup holders in here, and you can also open it so you don't have cup holders but just some more storage space in there, so you can change it between that and that. In the center, we don't actually have anything. There's no air conditioning here in the back for our own ventilation. We just have, if you look on the side here, we have some vents, which obviously is the temperature from the front. And just like typical, we get our USB-Cs here on the side of the seat for our USB-C connection here. We get some, well, stuff where you can put something in there, and also hard plastic. Let's look at the seating position if I'm completely set back. I don't actually have that much headroom then. There's around 2 finger heights of space, so not too much. Let's look at the quality on the side. We get softer material-ish. No, actually no, it's hard plastic. That's scratchy hard plastic up on the top. Nicer material all through here, with also some better quality here. Heated seats for the rear passenger, which is quite nice, and some more scratchier plastic here as well as on the very bottom, but actually nicer material on the inside, so your bottles don't move around too much and don't make too much noise. Isofix points are also quite easy to get. You're just gonna have to stretch this out a little bit so you can put your finger in there, and then also obviously your seatbelts. And now join me in the inside of the Kia EV6. First of all, you notice we get a new steering wheel, which I really do like on the new Kia models. We have this white and also black design here. That personally, I wouldn't actually mind if it would just all be black, because this is kind of bright and kind of irritates you sometimes. All physical buttons and our drive mode here on the center. We can also quickly start up the car and just see how it welcomes us. Infotainment display and digital cockpit or digital cockpit infotainment display, all going to be standard, very beep, 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 beep. Very digital. We get a heads-up display, and also you can see here, this is actually electrical inwards and outwards, up and down changeable, which is quite nice. And got a charging space here, typical this floating center display with heated seats, ventilated seats, and also heated steering wheel. No massage function. We also have this, which is a finger sensor, so you can actually sense where you start up the car and put that on there, and it's going to recognize which user is going to be selected in here, which is always quite nice. You just have that equipped. Lots of storage space on the bottom, USB-C there, and also 12 volt on the side. Another USB-C here and another one there, so quite a lot of charging capabilities. 2 cup holders in here and quite a big space on the center. I always love this, just like in the previous generation. You have your air conditioning, everything through here, with also rotary dials, and then you can change it to just some other variants, so you can have, for instance, your volume and stuff like that. So it changes the functionality of this, very intuitive and nice to use. We have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto selected in here, which is both wireless and just the newest generation here for its infotainment system, which is always quite nice, works wonderful. One thing that's also new now is you can now manually precondition the battery when you're, for instance, driving, and if you're also well, obviously putting in a destination. Let's just put it down to Munich, and it's powered by Google. Obviously we can see here it is going to load, and then we'll put it as our destination. And it's going to show us our quickest route and where we are also going to have to stop. So our quickest route would now be, you can see here also a nice layout of how much of a range we'd get. Currently we're at 62%. It's going to take us 5 hours and 20 minutes, and it's going to show us where we need to charge. So one here from 28% up to 80%. Okay. Now, just turn it off, please. There we go. It's going to show us everything where we need to stop here. You can see an overlay. So quite nice and easy to use. Otherwise, inside quality here in the front, quite nice. We get good material up top, softer here, and then hard plastic on the bottom with Meridian sound system, which is also an upgrade, and also up here, quite nice quality with also quite a big glove compartment, which goes fairly far down. Seats are also very comfortable and easy to use, which is a very weird thing that I just said, easy to use seats. But yeah, let's look at the reversing camera, which in here is a full 360-degree camera. You can see here it's also going to move our trajectory lines with us. We can also press on here and look at some other things, for instance our rims in the front and in the rear. If we are in reverse, you can also see here we have a towing kind of view, and also a full 360-degree camera where you can look around, which is always quite nice. Let's go into drive. It's going to switch the camera up into the front, and let's start moving this car. One thing you might notice, we are showing here that our tire pressure is low. There is a sensor issue with this car where it's claiming it to have different tire pressure than what it actually is, and I have not found a way that you can actually reset the tire pressure to your new standard. So 2.5 bar is what it's supposed to be, but that's not it. Ear warning systems, you could have heard there as well. You can hold down the volume button, and for a longer time it's going to turn that off. Very easy to use. That's a lovely car right there, Mr. Bean. So easy to use. Steering feel feels absolutely fantastic. Always love the Kia steering feel, and in general just the way it drives. And you can see here it actually moves quite a lot with bumps, which I'm not the biggest fan of. And lane assist is, for instance, something I'm always quite annoyed at when I'm trying to drive a little bit more sporty. I want to turn it off. You just hold down lane assist here for a couple of seconds until that right there turns orange, and then it's completely turned off. So very easy with your safety features and stuff like that to turn these off, and then it doesn't beep at you basically at all. But in the infotainment system you can turn off a couple of more things if you're interested in that. The drive mode button down here is also very convenient because you can just press on it. We have Eco, Normal, Sport, My Drive, and also Snow. I'm gonna put it into Sport here for a second, because once we're out of this kind of road here, or the city, it's actually quite comfortable and easy. There we get some good roads there. The bumps here, you will notice them, especially in Sport. It's going to stiffen up the suspension a little bit, but still feel quite comfortable to drive. And that's what I like about this car. EV6 is just such a versatile car. It is very good around speeds and corners. I'm just gonna let this biker through here just so he can, well, have some fun time here around these roads if he wants to. And then we have 325 horsepower all-wheel drive system. So if we accelerate now here from around 50, let's accelerate. I mean, that is a good punch, 325 horsepower. and then top speed of 188 kilometers an hour. But the lovely thing about electric cars is always the center of gravity, and Kia does a really good job here. Let's go around here faster and just look at how sporty that feels. That is actually quite nice. Okay, I thought he's gonna drive a little bit faster, but you can comfortably drive around here at fairly high speeds actually, and still have a very, very decent center of gravity. That's why I'm also very excited to, in the future, hopefully test drive the GT with 650 horsepower now, because just the sporty feeling of this car already just wants you to drive sporty, and that kick even at 325 horsepower here, and then the sportiness and just how planted it is to the ground. I'm always amazed by the EV6 capabilities and how it handles. It is superb. It honestly feels really, really good, and you can definitely drive this car quite sporty if you're interested in that. But then you can simply just go into the drive mode, put it into normal, and again you have a fairly nice family car, which is going to allow you to cruise over long distance. I was actually at a stop here with the A6, the e-tron variant, a couple of days ago, and there was the previous generation of the EV6 standing next to us. And I asked the guy, how far do you get? Because he was completely packed. He had a roof box on top as well, a family, and also a dog in the back. And he said he gets around 500 kilometers of range when he drives 140 on the Autobahn, which I didn't really believe. And so I still don't believe that, to be honest. I think he was kind of joking there a little bit. Since we've gotten the car, we've driven a total of 340 kilometers, which we've gotten an average consumption of 21.9 kilowatts an hour. That does include our consumption tests and also just city driving in general. Let's see, actually, since can we see a different value here? Since we've charged, which is just 22 kilometers ago, because I think I charged it overnight, or my friend charged it overnight, 19.1, that's mainly city driving and country roads here. If you're driving in the city, you can definitely get it down to around 16 kilowatts an hour, or even lower. When you're driving on the Autobahn, definitely a little bit higher. Top right, if you want to check out the consumption that we got on the Autobahn there. But still a fairly efficient car, especially for its size as well. And then you can actually get some decent value out of this car. You can get close to those 500 kilometers. If you're driving on the Autobahn, I'm thinking more around 350 up to 400 kilometers. When you're, actually around 350 if you're driving like 140 kilometers an hour, 120, maybe closer to 450 or 400 kilometers an hour. Kilometers, which is definitely not bad. We also have our recuperation pedals here on the back, which we can also put it into auto. If you hold it down, then it's just going to automatically brake if it detects, for instance, a corner and stuff like that, or just recuperate depending on the needs. If you hold it then back down again, you can change it to level 1 or even completely up to I pedal, which is one pedal drive, which I usually don't like, so I'm not the biggest fan of that. We do also have a side mirrors, which I have noticed at higher speeds, especially when you're driving at the Autobahn close to top speed, it will actually vibrate quite a lot. I don't know if it's going to do it here now. No, not if you're driving at these speeds, but the inner mirror is going to vibrate and therefore actually give you not the most comfortable experience when you're driving at those speeds. If you're, for instance, trying to overtake and you look at your rear side mirror to look if there's somebody behind you, it's going to vibrate and just give you an unclear image. So maybe they should look at that again and maybe try to fix it. But otherwise, safety features in here: adaptive cruise control, lane centralization, lanes change assist. All of them are in here and it just feels amazing. Memory function as well, and also just a great car when you're doing road trips. Use it as your city car, family car. It is just an all-around comfortable car. They have increased a lot of the standard equipment in here as well, and also increased, for instance, the safety features. They also added there's the autonomous parking, so you can park it from the outside via the app or on your key fob. You have that button where you can move the car forward or backwards. They have now also added another function. I think it was diagonal parking they now implemented. Let me know what you think of the inside. I'm actually quite a big fan of it, and it's just such a comfortable car to drive and very easy to drive as well. And the handling on this car is spectacular, and the sportier feeling, I'm always amazed by how sporty this car actually is. So what is my final verdict on the updated or the facelifted Kia EV6? Design wise, I really do like it. Here you can see these new lights. Quite a nice design. In general, I've always liked the EV6 when it comes to its design language, especially from the side. Always quite a decent looking car. I do like the fact that they actually made the car cheaper by 2,000 euros and increased a lot of standard equipment and also the battery size. Battery size now even better. Range still fairly decent. If you want a full consumption test, like I already mentioned, top right video, you can see how far you can actually get. The charging speed on these cars are always quite nice when it comes to Kia and Hyundai, so you can actually charge quite fast and therefore a fairly long journey practical car. And it's an all-round a good car. Family car, you have quite a decent amount of storage space, quite a lot of space in the back, and you get quite good amount of tech and standard equipment, making it quite comfortable and quite advanced. What do you think of the car? Let me know in the comments, and do you think the updated variant of the Kia EV6 is a good buy? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.